San Francisco didn't walk into day 2 looking for applause. It walked in with pressure on its neck and holes you cannot hide with cheap nostalgia. A first-round talent might be sitting right there, waiting for a defense that got way too quiet at safety. A giant receiver could tempt the offense, and while everybody was staring at the draft, the front office opened up cap ammunition. Subscribe, because in today's NFL, a contender that hesitates becomes prey. And this is where the conversation stops being cute and turns into pressure. Because if McNeel Warren is sliding to the top of the second round after showing up in so many mocks as a first-round player, the 49ers cannot treat that like a footnote. That is the kind of fall a serious team has to study with its teeth clenched. The safety position was not dominant in 2025. It just wasn't. The fan base saw it. Opposing offenses saw it too. There were plays where this defense lacked impact, lacked presence, lacked that defender who changes the temperature in the middle of the field before the quarterback even lets the ball go. And that is why this name hits in a good way. McNeel Warren is not in this conversation just because he might be sitting there on the board. He is in it because the fit smells like a real need. Long arms, physical attitude, the ability to play that enforcer role, and especially the possibility of working as a robber, similar to what Talanoa Hufanga did in San Francisco. I'm not saying he is a copy. I'm saying the role turns on a huge light. The 49ers know how much an aggressive, instinctive, well-positioned piece can mess up crossing routes, close inside windows, and make receivers think twice before running through the middle. And let's be honest, this defense needs to get intimidating again. Being organized is not enough. Living off reputation is not enough. The standard in Santa Clara has to be suffocate, hit, anticipate, and take space away. If there is one position group where a rookie can step in and change the result right away in 2026, safety is right near the top. Because we are not talking about waiting 3 years for quiet development. We are talking about a position where instincts, range, courage, and contact can show up fast, especially in a defense that already has structure, accountability, and talent around it. The question inside that room has to be simple but heavy. If he is really there early on day 2, what is the excuse for passing? The 49ers do not have the right to play patient while the window is still open and the NFC is not slowing down for anybody. Draft value is not just getting somebody below market price. Value is getting somebody who attacks a wound before it turns into a full-blown bleed. McNeel Warren could be exactly that kind of move. Aggressive, logical, and built like a team that still believes defense wins in January. Now flip the page and look at the other side of the ball, because Denzel Boston is the kind of name that makes the room a little less comfortable. Not because it is strange, the opposite, because it makes too much sense. The 49ers did a lot of homework on wide receivers in this class, and when a player a lot of people expected to go in the first round slides to the top of the second, you do not laugh and move on. You lean into the table and ask, why is he still here? Boston is 6'4", 210 pounds, with a big target frame and a catch radius that says he does not have to be wide open to win the play. And for an offense that wants to start biting defenses from every angle again, that is dangerous. San Francisco already knows how to create chaos with motion, play action, heavy looks, and roll swaps. Now imagine putting a receiver like that on the chessboard, with size, body control, and the ability to fight for the ball in the air. That is not just another body on the roster. That is a threat that forces a defensive coordinator to pick which problem he wants to suffer through first. Kyle Posey's Mike Evans comparison is heavy, and that is exactly why it has to be handled with respect. This is not about saying Boston is already Mike Evans before he even practices in the NFL. But the physical profile and the development idea are loud. And if Mike Evans is in the building, what better place for a big receiver to learn positioning, body usage, jump timing, attacking the ball, and winning through physical coverage? That is not fan poetry, that is practical development. That is an elite veteran serving as a living lab for a prospect coming in with rare tools. And there is one detail I really like. He tested well, and that 3-cone time stands out. For a receiver that big, short area agility matters a ton. Because the NFL is not just about running straight and winning with size. This league demands separation in tight spaces, change of direction, route top adjustment, balance through contact. When you combine size, ball skills, and better movement than expected, the conversation gets serious. At pick 33, Boston is viable. And if the 49ers really believe they need to bring fear back into this offense, that kind of bet is aggressive in the right way. It is not a luxury, it is ammunition. It is looking at Brock Purdy and saying, we are giving you a bigger window, a more physical target, an answer when the perfect play is not there. Teams chasing titles cannot build rosters like they are apologizing. They have to hurt defenses. And then comes the part that almost slipped under the draft night noise, but to me screams way louder than people think. While the lights were flashing, picks were being announced, and fans were arguing over the board, the 49ers reworked Osa Odighizuwa's contract and created $11.6 million in cap space, according to Spotrac. That is not just some random accounting move floating in the air. San Francisco converted $14.5 million of his salary into a signing bonus. A guy who just arrived is already involved in the kind of move this front office usually makes with important veterans. That catches your eye. And it catches your eye even more because of the context. John Lynch had been talking like the wallet was tight, especially when asked about the possibility of Joey Bosa playing next to Nick Bosa. The line about Mama Bosa loving it, but the team maybe not being able to afford him, sounded funny. But it also sounded convenient. Now, after the Trent Williams situation got resolved and this Osa restructure happened, the conversation feels a lot less innocent, because contenders do not open cap space on draft night just for accounting decoration. Sure, it can be long-term planning. The 49ers do this kind of adjustment all the time. But the timing? The timing is way too provocative to ignore. And I'll say it straight. If this move opens the door for a veteran addition, edge rusher has to be at the center of the table. That position is too light on depth for a team talking about a Super Bowl. You cannot ask Nick Bosa to carry the whole pass rush storm on his back and then act shocked when the pressure disappears in the fourth quarter of a big game. Joey Bosa would be the name that lights the fan base on fire, but it does not have to be only him. Cameron Jordan, Leonard Floyd, even a bolder Day 3 trade idea involving Kayvon Thibodeau. All of that belongs on the shelf of possibilities if San Francisco wants to attack a weakness instead of waiting for a miracle. The most aggressive part of this story is the hidden message. The 49ers may still be buying ammunition. Not money just to have money. Flexibility, reaction power, space to strike if the market opens a crack. And if you are faithful, drop it in the comments right now. With this cap space created, would you go all in on a veteran edge? Or would you use that money to fix another position first? But hold on, because the smarter read on this move might not be the loudest one. The fan reaction is obvious. They opened cap space on the first day of the draft, so a trade is coming, a veteran is coming, a big move is coming. And I totally get that instinct. When Spotrac shows $11.6 million in space created, and over the cap has the 49ers sitting at $42.3 million available, the fourth highest number in the league right now, it is impossible not to start connecting dots. Especially when Alex Highsmith's 2026 cap number sits right there at $14.5 million. The fan brain makes that connection on its own. But the front office might also be playing a colder game. The kind of game that does not create an instant headline, but keeps a franchise from becoming trapped by its own all-in push. According to Over the Cap, this conversion spreads $2.9 million per year through 2030, with the final 2 years being void years. So yes, that pushes money forward. And pushing money forward only makes sense when you have a plan to absorb the hit. The detail here is that the 49ers were projected to be in a negative spot next year, around $14 million under the line. If this space rolls into 2027, the franchise gets back into a much more breathable position. And that matters because the bill is not finished. Brandon Ayuk could still become a painful financial topic if there is a post-June 1 exit, with something close to $8 million in dead money spread over the next 3 years. On top of that, Kyle Juszczyk, Mac Jones, Christian Kirk, Jake Brendel, and Dre Greenlaw all have void years in their contracts. So there are important players, depth pieces, leadership, and decisions coming. This roster cannot be managed like tomorrow is somebody else's problem. So yes, there could be a window to add a player this weekend. I am not going to pretend that possibility is not delicious. But the stronger layer might be this. San Francisco is trying to keep spending power without tearing the machine apart later. That is what smart contenders do. They look for the strike now, but they also protect the next round of the fight. Real aggression is not spending everything on impulse. It is creating room to attack when the opportunity appears, and still having oxygen when the bill comes due. At the end of the day, these four stories are saying one thing. The 49ers are not in passive mode. McNeel Warren points to a defense that needs to hit first again. Denzel Boston points to an offense that could get bigger, heavier, and harder to cover. The Osa move points to a front office opening paths, whether that means attacking now or keeping strength for later. And that is what I want to see from Santa Clara. Urgency with brains, aggression with a plan, title hunger with no excuses. Comment which move you would make first, and subscribe because Day 2 could change a lot for the Niners.